at first it was challenging because it still wanted to fight against it. And then what I found was, if I don't fight what's in the background, but I embrace what's coming in with this meditation, it's almost like it does start coming in the background. It's still there and I can hear it, but I'm able to hear what's happening. And I've also found that doing it right when I wake up and I haven't gotten out of bed, when I'm in that in-between space, is the best, because my brain hasn't fully clicked on. So it's able to receive that
You're more suggestible at that
relaxation.
rate.
Yeah.
Let's learn how our next guest gets up, dress up, and show up on purpose. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lunid, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show, Riah Gonzalez. She is an author, speaker, and as you know it, an entrepreneur, and she has done some of the deep work, giving that, you don't let your past trauma dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And she's the living embodiment of that. And throughout her healing process, she proved that although you can hit rock bottom, you can come out stronger on the other side. And she has a book that we're going to talk about today, and how to be successful despite of all that. So with no further ado, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to the listeners and the audience for being with me along this ride too. I'm really, really happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for taking the time. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about the beginning of this process, trauma, and how that we're going to eventually get back to how you overcome it and come to the other end of it. So let's talk about the onset, the trauma, and what that did to you and how you felt before the transformation.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I think my story is not unique in the sense that many people have early life and early adulthood difficulties. In my teen years, I experienced having to live outside of my home. I was asked to leave my home. And so I was briefly homeless. I was taken in by a family that I did not know very well. And to this day, I call them all the time. I still call them mom and dad. They're lovely people. I stayed with them until a year after I graduated from high school, because I was still in high school when all that happened. And it really derailed what I thought my life process was going to be. I really wanted to go into college right after high school. That was something that no one in my family had done. And then I felt like it was not possible anymore. So I got married instead. So I got married when I was 19, and I really wanted to have a family. So I got pregnant right away on purpose after I was married. And thus started to unfold, basically growing up while being emotionally stunted from some of the things that had happened. And then at the same time being a newlywed and a mother. So it was a difficult transition.
Yeah, and having to do that by choice. And I can imagine with trauma, usually it stunts us in the way that we don't know how to behave in those loving relationships when we do find them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It becomes
I'm really
such a
blessed
challenge.
that I still, we're going to celebrate 25 years of marriage. I'm still married to my husband. We grew up together. So, I think somehow I want to high five 18-year-old me and say, good job. I don't know how in the world you found this guy, but he's pretty awesome.
Nice. We got to celebrate those too, right? We talk about
Yep.
we hear a lot about the bad, the negative about the husbands and partners. However, we got to talk
Yeah.
about the celebrate the good when we find the right one. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Tell us a little bit more about your community, right? Successful as AF community.
Yes.
I'm trying not to swear as well. It's hard not to.
I know, it's okay. And with that too is like, I do love to curse, but it's not like my whole personality. I just like to, it's just, I'm comfortable with that. But the book was meant to be an attention grabbing thing. And it's very, it's satire in the sense that very few people embrace that they are successful because they have this very unattainable idea of what success is. And so the community in itself is intended to be a place where people, real people, normal people can come together and talk about the wins and the not so wins of life. Where they're not like being braggadocious over other people, and also not like poor me. This is just like real life, and we don't give ourselves credit, and we often don't reach out when we are struggling. And the book has many of my, it's stories from my life, and my best of friends who were there for a lot of this called me after they read the book, and they were mad at me. They're like, I knew that things were happening, but I had no idea the depth of what was happening. And so, it just goes to show that sometimes we feel like we're going to be a burden. And I want to create a safe space where not only can we come and be honest about the things that are awesome about our day and the things that are difficult, and lift each other up. But I also want to connect with different interests, because if you're interested in something, your wins and your lows are going to be different. Like, I'm really into resin art right now. So my wins may be like, look at this cool piece that I made, right? Or, oh, this one didn't turn out. And somebody else who's interested in that's going to be a win or a low that they understand. So I want it to be a general community, but also an interest-based type community.
Yeah, finding those meaningful connections
Yes,
with one another, and building your tribe, per
absolutely.
se, so that you have people to go on a walk, go through the journey, the process with.
100%.
What are some of the steps that individuals can take to start the healing?
I think there's no quick fix. And there's embracing the fact that you're going to have to feel in a very intense way. And it's not for the faint of heart. However, I always say, if you numb the pain, you numb the joy. So if you're ready to embrace joy in your life, you have to face the pain. And it can create challenges in relationships, not just in the traditional sense of like, we had a challenging relationship and now I'm kind of digging this up, but like relationships that were codependent. Like, I found that I can be caregiving to a point where people didn't even ask for that. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm sacrificing myself and then feeling resentful about that. But honestly, it just brings up this host of things that you really, I think the first step is community. You need to have a safe place where you can be yourself, and you need a safe place where you can say, I am not well, because it's going to break you apart. But I like to say it's like a mosaic. Like, you have to break apart to come back together to be the person that you're intended to be. So you have to be ready to just jump, and you need the people around you to, be there with you, because if you try to do it by yourself, it can be very scary.
For individuals who are not motivated, it's easier said than done, right? If you're in a
100%.
place where you're feeling super super lonely and uncared for, how do you take the first step to actually join that community, get out of your own way, per se?
Sometimes it's finding something that resonates with you in terms of like a modality, because there's lots of different ways that you can start approaching it. I think that therapy is great But I almost think it's like adjacent. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like therapy is like a wellness check. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, you can have these deep breakthroughs, but you need something like a jolt to get you going. For me, it was a year of when I turned 40 and moving into that 40 year, I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I did tell my therapist, I'm tired of being 18. Like, I feel stuck at this age, like damaged and stunted. And I see all this beauty around me and love around me, and I feel none of it. Like, I have these beautiful children. I have this wonderful spouse, and I don't feel it, you know? And so I picked, or I don't know, God or the universe or whatever picked this modality. It's called core wound healing. It's very like journal based, working through things. And that felt very accessible to me. You know, some people, and then I tried so many different things, theta healing, parts work, body work, Reiki, you know, just like I just decided that I was going to be open to trying things that before were like off limits. I was raised very fundamentally Christian. And even though as an adult, I've worked through my own version of what spirituality was, I wasn't finding the healing. So I think it's finding something and maybe being open to just like, maybe you try it and you're like, yeah, that was not for me. Like, that was not it. But you never know unless you just are open to meeting new people and trying new things. And now I've just found like this little piece together formula of things that have kickstarted it, because that's the other thing. Healing never stops. Like you heal one thing and it's almost like my therapist at the time said, it's like a tree with roots, and like you pull one root up and then it attaches to another root. And I told her at that time, I was like, all right, we're not touching the roots, but I'll hack at the stump for a while. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll want to go down there. But I think that's true. You know, you get started, you start pulling up the roots, and that does feel good to address that. But then you're like, ooh, that's connected to this other thing. I didn't want to touch that. But it's a constant journey that you have to go on. And you do get to embrace more and more of life as you go.
I concur. It is continuous. I love the metaphor of pulling on the roots and
Yes.
it's tag on to the other, because it's true, because you just feel like, oh, I just overcame this. I feel so relieved. And then there comes something else around the corner that you got
Yes.
to deal with. But it's all for your own good, right? You got to go through
Absolutely.
that. It's almost like those trials and those healing process or to transform something greater on the other end. I love that you said it has to be accessible, like journaling for you. You found a modality
Yes.
that worked and it was accessible. It was free. It was easy to do, and I think that's a lot of way to minimize that barrier of entry to make it
Right.
easy to
And if
start
you
is finding
can, I
free.
mean, like if you can find ways, I think it's worthy of investment. If there's something that calls to you and you know this is your time to really dig in, and something that calls to you, and you have the means to do that, having a mentor through a modality can be very powerful. So, but there's also many ways that you can continue that or start that on your own too.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because when you're ready, when do they say when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. So
Yes.
rest assured that infinite intelligence, the universe, God is going to provide you with precisely what you need to
Yes.
help you heal at the moment. It's just that faith, that hope, like, oh, I'm gonna find it. And it's going to transform everything. Know that it's gonna be what you seek is seeking you, right? So what you're looking out for is wants to meet you, wants to intertwine with you, and somehow start the work. So you're
Yeah.
not
Even
alone.
as simple as saying, I'm done. This is
Yeah.
no longer my life. I'm done. Even if you can't find the words to like put it into like, I'm ready for this, because that can feel scary sometimes because you're not really sure what you're ready for, but you know you're done. This
Mm-hmm.
is no longer, and I like the phrase that I have been using, and I stole it from probably TikTok, to be honest, but is I'm no longer available for that.
Nice.
Like, that's it. I'm no longer available for that. That doesn't mean I have the solution. I just know when something comes up, nope, no longer available for that. And the same thing happens. Then if that's no longer acceptable, what is? And those start rolling in. And then as you get going, you're like, ooh, I'm available for that. Yes, that come into my life. You more of you. But if you're feeling like declaring what you want feels too much because it feels out of reach, just declare what is not acceptable for yourself. This does not feel good. This does not serve me. I am done with that. I am not available for that. Okay. What am I
next?
for? Let's go. I'm open. Like, open your arms, open your heart, and let it flow.
And it's honestly that being open and having an open heart to receive what is to come, and fret not. You will not know what to do or have the answers. You will not wake up and heal tomorrow. But that even declaration of I'm done, for you it was I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That was your declaration. The minute that happened, change the water gates open up to start the change. And it's really like you said, no more, being able to say that, being bold enough to say that and know where you are, being authentic, right? Knowing where you stand. And then the rest will fall into place. Like for you, I'm sure you had to put in some habits to continue to receive, to make sure that the vessel was ready to receive, right? The vessel, I mean your mind, your body, your environment. That will start changing automatically. So let's talk about that environment for you, what it was like, some of the habits that you started doing to ensure that the change stuck. So morning routine.
If you asked me a couple years ago that I would be doing the things that I do, I would call you crazy. Because I mean, one of the things that I try to do is, like, I like lighting a candle. It has no spiritual reference for me. It just, like, it's uplifting to me. It's like, it's almost like saying, okay, I'm ready for the day. Like, this is the first thing that I do when I come into my home office is I light a candle, and then it's like a reminder. I don't know. It's just something very uplifting for me.
It's a trigger. It's a trigger for you, letting you know that everything that comes after, you're ready to work. You're starting a business. You're setting the environment.
Yes. Meditation. I downloaded the app Insight Timer. And I found a couple people, and it's funny, I'm really picky about my meditation too. It's like kind of funny. Like, I'm like very specific what I like, and I needed guided meditation because I can't just sit there and do the Om thing. Like, I have ADHD. My brain is like going a mile a minute. So having a guided visualization, at first it was challenging because it still wanted to fight against it. And then what I found was, if I don't fight what's in the background, but I embrace what's coming in with this meditation, it's almost like it does start coming in the background. It's still there and I can hear it, but I'm able to hear what's happening. And I've also found that doing it right when I wake up and I haven't gotten out of bed, when I'm in that in-between space, is the best, because my brain hasn't fully clicked on. So it's able to receive that
you're more suggestible
relaxation. And naps, midday naps, swear to God, that is the most healing and amazing thing. That is probably why I love being an entrepreneur the most. And even if I can't sleep, I try to lay down for at least 15, 20 minutes. If I was at a traditional job, I would straight up do it in my car, because I need to disconnect from my work environment because my brain is no longer functioning properly. I have hit a limit and I need to disconnect, calm my nervous system, and then come back ready to go at whatever state that might be. And that's something that I've learned in this process.
Very nice. So meditation for you, setting that on and getting the candle burning, and then of course de-escalating or disconnecting midday. So that's part of some of the habits you have in place. Anything else?
Gosh, I wish I could say a diet and exercise, but I love me some food and I'm lazy when it comes to exercise. I live in Washington State, so it's like the weather is always cruddy outside. And so I look out and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go for a walk. It's definitely the next step in my healing journey. I'm sort of a focused tunnel vision type person. And the first year was really about healing. I called it healing in abundance. That was my phrase of the year. So it was really embracing different, like healing spirituality and trying to allow myself to feel abundant. And the next year was really about mental health. And so locking into putting together a care team and feeling, I went on some medication for my mental health and got therapy. Mm-hmm. And then this year is about inner child work, like really with the book and like saying, okay, I need to address these things and so my word is play, like addressing joy and addressing play in that way. But the next step I know for sure is finding a way to incorporate diet and exercise, because I know that will support all the other things.
I love that. I love the way you tie it all together. And you're honest in that it's a work in progress.
Oh yeah. 100%. 100%.
You're a work in progress. And I think that's the message here. Like, it's okay to be a work in progress. It's okay to be taking it in strides. It's okay to have that tunnel vision where you said, depending on the season in your life, this is the part I'm going to tackle, and then move forward and kind of add on to it. And that's a lot of the people, the morning routine just kind of built on. You don't just get up and go have a 2-hour morning routine. You start with just 5 minutes and then you build on it depending on what you need, and being intuitive and listening inward. So that's well put. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, there's actually one other thing that I've recently discovered that's been very helpful. And that's a website called FocusMate. And especially if you work, like there's a lot of work from home people or entrepreneurs, and essentially it's $5 a month, and you schedule a session for either 25 or 55 minutes, and you stay on camera with that person, sound off, not sharing screens, and you just work with that person on camera with you. And it really makes an impact because someone is watching you, making sure that you're, staying on track, but you also feel supported, so at the beginning of the session, you say, this is my goal. Then you go off sound, and then you come back and say, how much did you get done? If you want, you can chat in between saying, hey, goal number 1 done, moving on to this. But it's just showing up for each other. And sometimes that, even in the morning routine, just saying, okay, I just got started. This is what I'm going to do next. I want to accomplish my daily planning, for 20 minutes.
Accountability. It's huge. It's huge. And not just accountability with others, but accountability with yourself.
Yes.
Being able to hold yourself to your word and says, I'm going to accomplish this, and then follow through with it. That's the biggest way to build confidence. That's the biggest and fastest way to build self-love, and then you show up different after that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell us, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
So lately I've been trying to dig into TikTok a little bit more and just like get to know people. I'm showing a different side of myself and just being real. Like there's no sales. It's just like weird stories about me and what I'm doing for the day. But if you go to my website, which is riahgonzalez.com, all of my links to the community, to all of my socials. I mean, I'm on everything, you know what I mean? But so whatever platform that you're most comfortable with, find me there, and then do connect. Like actually DM me. I have an assistant, but I'm the one who is answering all of those. I genuinely like to know people, what they're about, what they have going on. And it's encouraging for me to connect with people too. So I would love to meet and get to know people.
Fantastic, because you're all about the community.
I am.
The emphasis on it. So appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please comment and tell us what was your favorite part, your favorite habit that you are going to try out for yourself today. Comment below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I will see you at the top of your best morning routine ever. Stay blessed.